Rougham, Bury St Edmunds, Blackthorpe and the surrounding districts in southeast England over the years have had their fair share of unusual phenomena, such as a previous story we told about a disappearing Georgian house. Other than disappearing houses and gardens, there are several other locations around the village of Rougham where strange things happen. One theory about the strange events that have taken place in that part of England are ley lines. Wherever ley lines intersect, weird events can take place. Ley lines are lines that crisscross around the globe, like latitudinal and longitudinal lines that are dotted with monuments and natural landforms, and carry along with them rivers of supernatural energy. They often appear as the explanation for paranormal events, and Rougham and the surrounding area has certainly had a history of strange events. The following are strange incidents described by various residents. Maureen Green. In the 1980s, Maureen was riding her scooter into Bury St Edmunds to work her afternoon shift at the nursing home, and the time was about 12:45 p.m. She just passed the exit road from the A14 heading along Blackthorpe when she spotted ahead of her 3 or 4 men pushing a Mini which had broken down. As she approached them, they passed out of sight around a slight curve, and a few seconds later she followed them and had a clear view of the road ahead, but there was no sign of the car or the men. On another occasion, at the same time and place, Maureen saw an elderly lady on a bicycle ahead of her, and the same thing happened, where she vanished. Jackie Humphrey. A few years ago, Jackie was leaving the A14 in the same location in the Blackthorpe area when she saw ahead of her a cyclist wearing a beret. As she watched, he disappeared in a kind of blue light, and she also had a similar experience in West Stowe to the northwest of Bury. Jackie believes that the area she experienced unusual activity was where the energy wells up from the earth. It drains you and takes you over, she said. On this occasion, all sounds ceased and seemed that time had stopped. All these accounts led her to some conclusions that the Grove is at the centre of a zone in which some kind of strange energy holds sway. It can cause people to see visions of the past, but can also make people feel sick, dizzy and weak, sometimes for hours. Many animals are afraid of it. This energy can be perceived by sensitive people and detected using the methods of dowsing. The energy seems to come up from the earth and may manifest in the form of a vortex. But ghosts, shadows and globes and arcs of light have also been observed. Edith Rose. Another focus for strange events is Gypsy Lane, where Edith saw several monks walking past a living room window. She said that shadowy figures were often seen coming up the front path, always at dinner time. Their horse would refuse to walk past a certain point on Gypsy Lane. Often horses and ponies would break free and run off in a panic. Bob and Wyn Barker. Bob and Wyn lived in a house at the northern end of White Horse Lane, about 400 yards south of the Grove, and would independently observe balls of light in their bedroom. The lights would emerge from a wardrobe on the right of the room and travel to the left until it disappeared into another bedroom. An elderly lady and her 2 daughters, who live in the main part of the village, had a good view of the fields leading up to the church. On many occasions, they've witnessed a strange arc of light come up out of the ground and form a kind of rainbow. The light persists for a considerable period, but they have been afraid to mention it to others for fear of being ridiculed. The light was last seen in 2011. Mr. Webb. Many years ago, the railway line ran at ground level, and there was a level crossing where today a small bridge exists. One evening, Mr. Webb had a frightening experience at that location as he was cycling over the railway crossing. Mr. Webb had seen what looked like a body lying about 50 yards down the track. It looked as if a terrible accident had taken place. He then jumped off his bike and walked towards the body, but it disappeared before he could reach it. Caroline Boast. One evening in the 1980s, Caroline was taking her younger sister Amanda on a drive to celebrate passing her driving test. As they drove along Blackthorpe, a man clad in Victorian clothes with a dog on a lead stepped into the road. They had barely travelled 100 yards along the road when the same man and dog appeared in the exact same sequence of movements. Chris Jensen Roma. Chris posted on his website an account of a strange experience he had as a teenager when he was with a school friend between classes. He saw a group of children in the uniform of his middle school, St James, near the west front of St Edmundsbury Cathedral. Among them, he saw his younger self. Then very soon he began to feel extremely ill, sick, dizzy, and a severe headache, so had to be sent home. Much later he decided that he must have experienced some kind of hallucination caused by an attack of migraine, but it now seemed more likely that he really did see his younger self in a typical time slip, and afterwards suffered the same symptoms that others have reported after an encounter with the mysterious energy source. Other reports of possible time slips have been reported from the Blackthorpe area of Rougham and Bury Town Centre. Ghosts are often reported, and one was photographed at Rougham Airfield. The following image was filmed using a Kinect Ghost camera. Phantom monks have also been seen in Gypsy Lane. It seems that the energy source in Rougham is the Earth's natural torsion field. Russian researchers suggest that torsion waves can travel backwards and forwards in time. Energy dowsers claim that two major currents exist in the Bury area and that one passes through Bradfield St George.